patiently waiting to get in this game. Could barely keep up with the reasons. Been focused on eating and keeping my family together. You know, some are no longer reason. Still holding no grieving and striving to get to a place where they see that we overachieving.
Recording has begun. Hello, everybody. Oh,
Oh no, we do the intro.
mhm.
Bye bye.
I guess we don't have to say too much now. Everybody should know by the time we hear. So, chapter 9, y'all. We almost done. One more chapter to go. Chapter
When you
9.
break it down like this, we like on page 260 something, 200.
And
I
we're on
ain't know
page
on this page.
233. 233. So, welcome. We have to chapter 9. I'm glad we made it this far. Mm-hmm.
Push beyond your limits.
Push beyond your limits, self belief. This chapter actually reminds me of y'all. When I read this chapter, I was like, "Yep, that's Leandre. Yep, that's Aki. Yep." I was going through the books, thinking about the things that you all were taught in life. How I pushed you all. You all probably didn't like that shirt right there. The shirt that royalty has on is what this chapter is about. Look what his shirt. What does it say? The first word, rebellious. We can't hear you, royalty. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
This chapter is rebellious. Well, not chapter, but it is about my shirt. I didn't wear it on purpose.
You didn't wear it on purpose. I have my can't even see my levitated mind shirt. I don't know why I got the shirt off. Can't see my logo.
In a world that is full of roses, be a sunflower.
Here. Okay. Alrighty. So push beyond your limits, self belief. Your sense of who you are will determine your actions and what you end up getting in life. If you see if you see your reach is limited, that you are mostly helpless in the face of so many difficulties, that is best to keep your ambitions low, then you will receive that little that you expect. Knowing this dynamic, you must train yourself for that opposite. Ask for more, aim high, and believe that you are destined for something great. Your sense of self worth comes from you alone, never the opinion of others. I like that part right there. Your sense of self worth comes from you alone, never the opinions of others. With a rising confidence in your abilities, you will take risk that will increase your chances of success. People follow those who know where they're going, so cultivate an air of certainty and boldness. I like that introduction. That right there shows what's going on. So that introduction really is the full part of the chapter.
It really is. Like when you look at the introduction of the book, like when it's saying that, like don't follow behind anybody. Like know who you are. Like self worth is a big thing. Then self worth, and then there's another thing. Self awareness is a huge thing. When people are just drowsy and down and at my job, and like you hear them, you can tell they don't believe in themselves. Why would anybody make you a manager? People have to follow you.
And I guess it's the age that it happens because I was told, and I did notice it. They said you're not grown until you hit 30, and usually that happens because you could care less about the opinions of others. Of course, you got people in their 50s who care about the opinions, but most, I know me, I could care less about anybody's opinion. I'm going to do what I want to do, how I want to do it, when I want to do it. If they don't like it, oh well. It's just me, and that's why I tried to raise you all the same way. Really, too. Nobody's opinion really matter.
Yes, put the hammer down. It's really like I said the same thing to somebody a few days ago. I'm like, it's really my way or the highway. Like that's how I look in my head
I
when
mean,
it's coming back
for
to
you,
it.
yeah.
Like what I'm
And,
doing.
and I guess it's kind of because I think this chapter kind of um complements and clashes with chapter 7. I think it was like a thing that said something about chapter 7 as well in here, which is leading from the inside out.
Right,
Because you still have to take others' opinion into consideration,
right,
but you can't make it determine who you are and your self-worth. You can still take it and know how to deliver it from that specific way. So
right.
if people are telling you um like say for instance you designing clothes and they like, okay, your clothes suck. If 100 people tell your clothes suck, then your clothes probably suck. But that don't mean get down about it. Just know how to change it, but still keep that
Be fluid.
confidence in you of that you know what you're doing and keep it going and know that you will figure it out.
Right. Yeah, like you said, it complement. It's more. It complements chapter 7 because you have to. I mean, I take into you take in consideration what people are going to say, and then you go ahead and weigh your pros and your cons, do your analysis, and do your decision matrix, and move forward based on that's going to get you to who you are.
Yeah, because I think the way they said cause when you born, everybody's born right, and of course um like your parents, like you're gonna have like some natural things that come from them. That's your looks. Uh, if they're good in math or something, you probably be good in there. If they're athletic, you're probably gonna be athletic. Like it's certain things that you kind of like born with or whatever. But mostly everything is like you're born by yourself. So I guess they said like your parents are the first ones that you're trying to like get approval from. Like if they say anything, like like man, shut up, like you stink or something. Like you probably shift your your focus on not stinking, like or probably not the best example, but but you go push your focus. Well, I think that in here they was like man, like you're extra shy, but if it's like you're extra energetic. Well, if they say anything like that, like in your head, you're like, okay, what does that mean? So that means I should act like this, or I should do this, and it kind of like goes through like your early years in school. Cause kids could be a-holes, you know what I'm saying? Like especially about 7, 8 years
They
old.
mean, yeah, kids
Like kids is mean, you know what I mean? So you gotta have a backbone with them. And then it like continues like through adolescence, like when you actually trying to like figure out who you are in this world and you're developing your personality and you probably really never truly know your personality because you're around so many people who have these opinions and you still have to, I guess, quote unquote, take in consideration of what they may think
mm,
because of what you're trying to do. So, like, and then when you get to like the older, I guess that's what you're talking about, like in your 30s, like you probably realize, like, okay, like, man, this ain't. I obviously didn't know what they was talking about, or I should have just did this, or living that coulda, woulda, shoulda, and not actually doing exactly what you could have been capable of because like you got put in a specific box.
yeah, I try to live by the life of do not live a shoulda, coulda, woulda, if life, which means if I believe that I might end up saying shoulda, coulda, woulda, if, I'm not gonna do it. And that got me in a lot of trouble because I
Or
was
not gonna not do it.
or not do it right. I was a rebellious one. I was the one who you can't do that. I'm like, okay. And I still did it.
And Dre said the magic word. By the way, Adolescence is coming out 2021 new album. Be on the lookout. But it's like when I look at it, I think I learned more and still learning more to stop caring because I really don't care about what people say, and that mainly comes from understanding that
I mean, you can
nobody
take it into
has.
consideration. You can listen, but still move on your goals.
Oh yeah, like I'm gonna listen because like I can't block it. I can't block out the words. It's
Right,
just like I don't care about it because it's like no one's gonna have my best interests more than I will have my best interests. So it's
right.
almost like at the end of the day, Like how even how Dre said earlier, he's like, people can say, "Oh, you're this, you're that, or this sucks, or that sucks." Then why aren't you doing it if you know so much about it?
Right.
So I'm gonna keep doing it for myself.
But I like how Curtis has said he was using music as a vehicle for businesses. Now, if people knew that about him in the beginning, because like right now, people always they're talk like what happened with the election, everything. They're asked, wonder what's going on. But his end goal was to have multiple business, not the rap industry. This was a vehicle to get him to the business steps. So he actually stayed on target with his mission statement from way before. What did he say? He brought 20 of his closest friends to his grandmother's house.
Mm-hmm.
And he decided, okay, this is what we're going to, same thing that LeBron did. He did the same thing with his friends. You're going to get blah, blah. You end up sending everybody going to school for a particular area. And that's what they end up doing for his business. He said,
But
some say, go ahead.
and sometimes like even in that situation with LeBron, like he probably didn't know exactly what was gonna happen when he did that. But like when you sometimes you like chosen as a leader and chosen to be in specific situation, and like when you brought that LeBron up, because I didn't even think about that. Like when it says push your limits, like he probably didn't think that he'd have his best friend as his publicist and as an agent and just putting all these different people on. But when you get there, you like realize that like I'm pretty sure when Dr. Dre was like making these beats and stuff, he didn't think he'd have these Beats headphones, you know, like
Right.
he probably didn't have that thing in mind. But I guess as you go forward as well, I think you can find out that you could push the envelope even more and become more of something like a Russell Simmons, like he was just probably just trying to put his brothers on, like we just gonna do this. Then you start learning certain things, and then you can end up becoming like a mogul or something, a mogul, a business person, a philanthropist, or whatever you want to be in life. Like by moving through these different steps, I guess you can go back to the trust the process from last week or whatever. So like I guess a lot of people like I mean like me myself, like I know I can have the end goal in mind, but like if you don't break them down into these steps and goals, it could probably be a little overwhelming. So when you like trying to push the envelope and trying to become like specific things, like because sometimes you can't see it from a bigger picture. Sometimes you be like, okay, you gotta do this, do A, B, and C. Like you just can't jump straight to elemental P. You know, like you gotta
I mean, you got to
like
do the grunt work. You have to do the grunt work.
yeah.
Got to
And
do the grunt
sometimes
work.
and sometimes you will notice certain things, like even with the fluidity. I think everything coming like into one, like even the fluidity chapter, like you see it as it's going, and you know exactly how to push the envelope at this point.
I mean, it
And
goes to your one of your songs that you made, "Ride for My Team." Some of the
mm,
stuff you have for "Ride for My Team" and things that you were saying when you're building your team and building what's going to happen in order to move, and how to put certain people on and say as well. So even your songs has a lot of stuff. It's funny, a lot of stuff that you done socks, your raps and stuff, your lyrics and stuff has a lot of things that's in here, but it also goes back to 48 Laws of Power on what you were being taught as a kid growing up around 7 to 8 and 9 years old, not even knowing that you were being taught the different 48 Laws of Power through the actions that I was giving you as well. So you starting to see a lot of things. I'm glad that we reading this book because you can see certain things that I was teaching, but you didn't know I was teaching. It's like when you're teaching a kid how to do martial arts, but you're showing them in play. But when it's
mm,
time to apply the skills, it comes back in your brain. It comes back up like, oh, how do I know this already? And things like that. Well, I said, I don't know why I said I like build a team. Okay, I did the business part. I'm on page 239. It says what he asked for them to, okay, we talked about that. We talked about that already. Oh, I put in this on page 240 talking about the eagle, the beak, and the tylons. The eagle, the I don't know if you all seen on social media that I end up placing that saying that remind me of the book. And what do you say? Part business mogul. We talked about power broker. He was withdrawing from, so he was recreating himself. Talking. That's what I was saying. Doing things that you need to do to recreate yourself. Oh, so many years and everything. So you're always reevaluating what you're doing, what you need to do to recreate yourself in order to move forward to stay. Like we were talking about. I think that was chapter 2. How we were talking about they didn't know about the artists anymore. How certain jazz players, you don't know about the jazz players because they're not moving forward on that. So I don't know why it made me think about in this particular chapter talking about the eagle, because the eagle ends up going to the highest peak and then knocking their beaks off, and then after that grows back they end up doing what they need to do because they end up doing it because they can't catch their fish anymore because they're too big. So how to be vulnerable but still recreating yourself in order to move forward. So I like how Gary V said so many people were saying they're too old at 50 years old, but Gary V said that's the prime time because it's time for you to move on with that knowledge that you have and apply that knowledge to move forward.
Yeah, like I was saying, I think it was a few chapters ago. I think I was talking about like reinventing yourself. I think it's with the fluidity as well. And I think I used the examples of like two ways to reinvent yourself. I use Drake, and I also use Jay-Z, and how Drake he reinvents himself to still go for the younger crowd each
Yeah.
year and do it like that. And Jay-Z does it at a different way. He trying to like grows with this audience. So he's not rapping about guns anymore. He's not rapping about drug dealing. He's rapping about his family now, or getting beat up in the elevator by his sisters, by his wife's sister.
Oh,
But but
like,
how can you apply that same knowledge to a reinvent? What have you done? Because I mean, we got 43 different generations on here. So what have you
I mean,
done in order to reinvent yourself as you move
I
forward?
mean, me personally, um, it's a like I feel like I'm a lot more mature than I was like 10 years ago, and even 10 years before that. Even though people that met me today or last week probably just think I'm like goofy or something, or be chilling or doing all that. I still like to have fun too, you know. But if you would have known me 10 years ago, it would have been a different story, or then you'd actually been able to actually see the growth in it or whatever. But like you always have to reinvent yourself. Even right now, like the whole world is kind of reinventing themselves right now because we're going through this pandemic. You probably don't know that you are, but everyone is kind of like certain people thriving off of it, some people falling over, some people start off high and get low, some people start low and get high. Like it's not too many people that stayed the exact same throughout this pandemic. I'm pretty sure you probably reinvent yourself and don't even know you're doing it. But like if you can like locate it and actually see certain things that you're doing different, and then you actually see exactly how it's going and be able to control it more.
And
like
they
what?
talk about that in the book as well. It's a you can
Like,
reinvent yourself, or this chapter you can reinvent
But
yourself. It's going to happen anyway.
or like one thing that I say is like reinventing yourself. One thing that I learned is take advantage of the fact that we are addicted, that we have addictions. We are addicting people. People love to be addicted to something. Everyone's addicted to something. It's just take advantage of it. Like I've been recently making myself get addicted because I like to spend money, but now I'm like make myself addicted to spending money on investments. Get myself addicted to doing all of these different things. And you're still doing the same thing you were doing before, but you use it in a different aspect. You change your addiction from one thing to another thing because addiction isn't a bad thing. It's what you're addicted to. So if you're addicted to learning, you're gonna learn everything. You're addicted to making money, then you're gonna find a way to be addicted to it. You just can't make excuses about it. And then you start growing with it and start getting that natural knowledge through those good addictions.
it's like certain things. I think a lot of things that this thing was talking about is um I guess power of the mind and
Basically, yeah.
actually getting yourself there. I know it's easier said than done. People post it all the time. Like, I don't care what people think, everything. You care what people think. Shut up. I'm like, everybody care what people thinks, but it's just, are you gonna allow that to deter you from what you're doing? Like, I'm pretty sure if your mama told you like you ain't gonna never be nothing. I mean, not you, mom. You ain't never tell us that. But I'm just saying, like,
No,
like,
self-fulfilling prophecies. I know self-fulfilling prophecy. I mean, I told you all you can dare to be different and you're gonna do what you want to do, what you put your mind to. So for some
yeah.
reason, y'all actually believed it.
Are
It's
you
like
taking shots, man? Throwing slugs, mama?
I mean, speaking of slugs, the best metaphor would people rather be a Jake Paul or a Nate Robinson? You want to push for the sky, and you want to not care what no one say
But,
about
Yeah,
you.
so
but Nate
somebody
Robinson
should have
still
told
made
Nate.
money.
Somebody should have told Nate, like, hey man, look.
How much money did he make to get thrown to the floor? How much
Oh,
money he still made money?
oh yeah, he made a
I
lot
mean,
of
he
money.
an ex-NBA player. I'm pretty sure he got bread. But the thing is, like, you got to prepare yourself for it. I don't think his mind was ready for it. He probably, like, your first fight ain't supposed to be in front of millions of people before Mike Tyson fights somebody. You probably need to have some fights before, get your mind ready for it, and know exactly what you finna do. You ain't just finna go out there and just,
I
like,
mean,
you still
back
gotta
in
be
the day,
prepared in some type of way. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, he probably looked at some Tyson fights. Back in the day, we knew Tyson's fights wasn't gonna last past the first round. We knew it. We like, okay, fight over. Like 5, okay, fight over. Boom, boom.
I know, but that was actual people that got paid millions of dollars to get knocked out by Mike Tyson. We talking about somebody, and Mike Tyson had previous fights before. They fought before. They probably was undefeated before they fought Tyson. Like, your first fight ain't supposed to be in front of millions of people. That's why
And
that's
it's
why
like,
people get challenged now. Like everything. I mean, he had heart though. I give him that. You know what I mean, but
and,
like respect the process.
and,
You
and it's
know,
like, and it's like
respect
even
the
with
process.
and like even with like tying it into the book, like Jake Paul does not care what anyone thinks or says about him, and like he makes it like he cares about himself. He cares about his own image. So when it came down to it, if he told Conor McGregor, he's like, look, he's like, I'm bigger than you. He's like, and he makes it known. I don't go off a follower count because my follower count does match my bank account, and he's one of the biggest YouTubers in the world, and he's showing like we're gonna keep advancing, keep doing better as a people. I'm
You
gonna
know,
keep
you
doing
said the
better.
final decision is yours, based like you always saying, based on people opinions. But the final decision is yours on what you want to do. It's your
Hmm.
final, but make calculated decisions. Just don't go jumping and willy dilly. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I mean, it has to be calculated. It doesn't. No, you make sure it's calculated.
Calculated momentum.
Right.
Okay. Hold on, I got something right here. It says there is another fearless way of approaching your life. It begins by what?
What page is it?
243.
Okay.
Oh, untying. I was gonna say you uniting.
I have this. I have
Untying.
this star too. Go
I
ahead
don't
and
think I ever seen the word untying before. All right. Untying yourself from the opinions of others. This is not easy as it sounds. You are breaking a long life habit of continually referring to other people when measuring your value. Then I went down a little bit. It's like your personality can be altered and shaped by your conscious decision to do so. We barely understand the role that willpower plays in our action. When you raise your opinion of yourself and do what you're it has decided influence on what you do. For instance, you feel more comfortable taking some risks knowing that you will always be able to get back up from your feet if it fails. And I wrote on the side, I put like sports and I put short memory. So they say like in sports, you're supposed to have a short memory. So that means if you're a quarterback and you go out there and throw an interception, don't get down on yourself. Just go back to the next play. If you throw a touchdown, don't get too happy. Go to the next play. So it's like that short memory thing, like it kind of keeps you tunnel vision and focus on exactly where you're going. So even if they say it sucks, or they say it's the best song ever, or they say this is the best shirt ever, or they say you're the best ever, like me myself, I try to like not get too high or too low. Like it happens because like we are human or whatever, but like that I think it keeps like a specific like um goal in mind that has you to that point where you're not actually too deterred by what people think, whether they're gassing you up or they're speaking negatively on you.
Yep. I agree. Which made me think about Love and Basketball. What happened when she ended up hitting that play in Love and Basketball, and she did like this, and the
Yeah,
ball went in, and then
yeah,
walk around with
you know,
her
they scored. Yeah.
like, and she learned that lesson real quick, short
Yeah.
lived.
I like do that again. Yeah, sit over there real quick.
Right.
And I think another thing I had saying, hold on.
I think I did that to you when, cause you I mean, you are really smart, Dre, and you used to
Why, thank you.
in math.
Why you gotta put that in there, man? Just keep that smart. Just keep that smart.
And in
That's
science,
what I'm talking about right there. I'm not gonna let it get me down. I'm
like
smart
that.
and everything,
I
y'all.
mean, but you should be used to that in our family. You should be used to that. We gonna end up saying certain things. So if you end up letting us get you down, you're in the wrong family because we will end up breaking you down, pushing you up, and I mean that's just us. That's just his family. So I think we build thick skin in this family. Period. That's how. That's just. That's just we were like, all right, you broke down, all right. Shoot, when we played spades and we cut our key was what? Royalty was what 5 years old, he reneged, and we took the he reneged. It was like you took his books, he was only 5. You gotta learn, you gotta learn.
I gotta walk my hamster.
You gotta walk your hamster.
I gotta walk my squirrel.
Okay, it was something right here that I had saying that kind of caught my eye. It was like for those of us who live outside such an environment, ambition has almost become a dirty word. And that's basically saying like it gets misconstrued with like people who want power and people who want to put people down. And it's like people who want power so badly must have like this is what people think. People who want power so badly must have psychological problems, or we think much of this society purely around the idea of power and ambition come from an unconscious guilt and desire to keep others down. To those occupying a position of privilege, the ambitiousness of those from below seems like something scary and threatening. And that's why I made a post earlier on Facebook that said,
Losses.
yeah, it was earlier today. It was like, you don't have to put like you don't have to put somebody else's causes down in order to elevate yours. So if I'm over here selling soul food and you selling seafood, I could just boost myself up and say how good my soul food is. I don't have to say your seafood sucks.
Right.
You know, like it's kind of I guess that's just the society we stay in though. Like even like with politics, like Democrats and Republic, like even when they doing a debate, half the time they don't even say what they're gonna do good. They say what the other person is doing bad. You know, like so I think like so when people say like that ambitious thing, so when you see people trying to get that, people automatically put that negative connotation on it.
Yeah, I don't, and it's like that's the masses of people who does that. Just bring everybody up because everybody rise with the tides. As long as we all coming up, everybody's gonna come up together. I like page 2. What is this? My 250. That those first 2 paragraphs, I'm like, ugh. And then I put illusion. I put an illusion next to it, a question mark.
Oh yeah.
Talking about willpower. I don't know why I put that, but I would just say this has to be calculated risk when you're doing certain things. Have that calculated risk and moving forward. What would it say? What prevents you from taking such action is not mommy, daddy, or society, but your own fears. So when do we come at a certain age when we stop blaming other people? When is there personal responsibility? When do you stop saying, okay, my mama made me do this, my father made me this, but or this is what happened to me in childhood? When does personal responsibility come into place in order to move forward? So, or is it happening because people fear of being who they really are?
Yeah, the idea of accountability, I feel like a lot of people drown it out, and I put it in a very blunt way that people may think is mean. But if you're surrounding yourself around failures, you're gonna want to find an excuse to keep you around those same failures. But you a failure too. You stayed. You're a product of your environment. You stayed around all of them, and you wouldn't move. You don't want to be accountable. You're thinking that someone that is arrogant may be a bad thing. Sometimes you have to be arrogant. Sometimes you have to be selfish. Sometimes you have to do
Talk
all
about
of
it
it.
here. Yeah.
And it's like once people start understanding, I don't want to be a failure. I don't care what they're doing in my life. Like my mom always said, don't care about what they doing. What are you? Don't care about they stuff. Care about your stuff.
And it is like some I guess like certain um positions that certain people get put in that does have you at a disadvantage. But like once you notice that you are at that disadvantage, you have to use like kind of like this whole book, not even just this, like even the fluidities and the fearless stuff, like you still have to use certain things to get you to certain places, but still know that this how this certain person sees you. Like so in this, like when it's pushing the limit or whatever, like if I go out, if I'm in a suit and tie, I'm gonna get a different response than if I come out with a chain and a hat on. I mean, like not saying that it's right for them to look at me like that, but I still have to be cognizant to the fact that this is how they view these people. So sometimes you gotta kind of like move with the crowd in order to make certain people see it. You know what I mean? Like play the game with them, I should say.
Right. I like the part where it says, why did I put this? Many, my, I don't know why I put this. Many first. Oh, I was talking about Earhart. How he ended up talking about Earhart in the book, how they were saying that she's a woman and she should not be able to fly. They told her she's supposed to end up getting married and end up having certain ways of how it's supposed to be according to society, like you had said, and seeing certain things. But like you also said, there are going to be a lot of there are going to be a lot of things that changing in 2020. There are a lot of firsts that are happening in 2020 because of COVID-19, which is great. It's forcing everybody to do certain changes and looking at themselves, deciding. I mean, you could actually decide, dang, I'm a failure. I need to figure out what I need to do to make myself better, or am I comfortable in this particular position in order to move forward? So that they also, that's why also they're saying after this pandemic is over, a lot of people are going to end up no longer being together because they're seeing their true person who they're with, or they deciding how they're going to end up implementing the knowledge that they have gained.
Yeah, and I guess and in this, I don't know why I was just like when you were just talking about that, like with the when they saying like the woman was supposed to be a pilot, and now there's a lot of women pilot. Like sometimes the tides turn with it, you know, like and I guess like we in America, so and it's a capitalistic society, so they kind of like gotta go with what everyone's thinking. So you see how the NFL just automatically hopped on this Black Lives Matter stuff, like after the George Floyd thing happened, because they seen society was like, oh damn, like this really is happening, like this, like there was no excuse for that. So then when the tides change, that's when everybody else because it's all about the dollar for them. So they finna go whichever way the wind going, and they which way the wind blowing. Okay, we finna go this way. Okay, we finna go this way. So like even like 10 years ago, it wasn't that many black quarterbacks in the league. You know what I mean? You had like your Michael Vicks, certain ones that now like half the quarterbacks black now. You know what I mean? You got Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, you know, like it's a lot of them. You know what I mean? Russell Wilson, like half the MVP candidates are like all black quarterbacks now. And they started to say like, well, quarterbacks they don't be running like that. Not look at Lamar Jackson. You know what I mean? Like he was just MVP.
Hey,
Patrick, the last like now black quarterbacks are like taking over the league now, and now they have to change with it because if you stay in this traditional way, you're going to get left behind.
so they're gonna be quarterbacks. Will there be any black football team owners though?
Right. That's next. And now they actually putting a rule in, which is crazy. Like that you have to like they said like if you get black people in a position of power, I think they said like the GM, it's not the owner because like you can't take away from the owner, but like everything that's under the owner, right under the owner, like between the owner and the head coach, and it was like they'll give you like a extra third round pick, but they'll give you extra incentives and give you extra. So it gets to the point where they like, dude, like do it. You know what I mean? Like think about like when like Jackie Robinson and them came in the league. Like after Jackie Robinson came in, it was another slew of other black players that came in, and all the black players that came in was all stars. They was whooping their butt. So then what you think they start doing? Like, okay, like they winning. Let's bring some more of these people in. You know what I'm saying? So like the time you want to win or you just want to be left in history and don't know what's going on.
So looking at that, let's go a little towards America. So looking at what's happening, the browning of America, because America's getting brown and everything. Do you believe that is why also people were supporting the MAGA? Is that what they're talking about? We need to bring back, we're not having people, there are more people of color who are getting in powerful position. Understanding there is a difference between people of color and African American. We're talking just the browning of America. And you are looking at, is that why the, no, I'm gonna call it a, is that why the people who are in the, that's part of the racist majority?
I mean, I think, like me personally, I think the like say fans like like the owners of these teams are like old white men.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like not even old white women, you know,
You're right. Oh, what?
old white, old white men
Mm-hmm.
who out who was around during like this time of segregation, who probably still believe this, but they granddaughter probably gonna have a mixed baby, you know, like and as it gets as it goes in, like it'll blend out. I guess like since it's so much in the culture, it'll take like a very, very long time to do it. But like when people are like forcing it and like actually seeing what's going on, like you see what happened when like it was like, okay, they actually thought black people wasn't smart enough to play quarterback. Now like they think they could process things quick enough. And mind you, this was like 15 years ago. Like this ain't like
And that's
in the 60s.
crazy.
You
I
know what I'm
mean,
saying? Like,
I'm like, okay, so that's still saying, okay, you're still looking at us as subhuman, saying black people
yeah.
cannot process, but look at all the inventions that were created. Look at everything else that was done by black people in America. Period.
You
Even before
see
we,
what happened when we play golf, when we play tennis.
we
You know what
anything
I'm
we
saying?
get, we're gonna
Like,
dominate.
and we don't even play that. Imagine if we make like had black people playing this instead of basketball and football. You know what I mean? Like you think we ain't gonna take that over either? But I think like it's getting to a scary place though, where they know like
I mean, if you really think
we
about it,
shit.
even tennis, like tennis, everything that we do, we're able to do it, and we do it amazing. We do it greatly. And one thing that I feel like that we did that the people of power are afraid of is that we are starting to remember who we are and remember what came in the past. Because if you really think about it, there has been distraction and there's forced distraction. The people of power remember all of it, having written down somewhere, while we're here not even remembering something as simple as this.
As simple as Black Wall Street or
Yeah.
anything.
Right. And yep.
Nobody remember the old YouTube icon, the old Netflix icon, because they get that out of your head to reinvent it for them, and then they brainwash you with things that you enjoy. The moment we started learning how to get out of that, growth happened.
And it's going to happen is more reinventing itself because it's on a cycle. So we actually can see a whole group of people. I mean, anybody. Like, as an educator, I know what generation the student is in America based on how they care about learning. I've seen the first, second, and third generation Americans that's over here, they care about learning. After that third generation, I can say, okay, you're the second or third generation. Oh, I'm the fourth generation. And you can see in the laziness start coming in. the entitlements start coming. They don't care about learning. They're finding different ways to cheat. They're finding different ways to get over instead of even going to school or reading a book and everything.
They
So
turn into real Americans.
they're turning right to Americans. So first, second, and third generations that are here in America, they're hard work. I see hard workers. I see caring about education. They're reading. They're not
They
finding the
thirsty.
shortcuts.
They're like,
They're
because
hungry.
they see it as an opportunity. Yeah, they hungry. Yeah.
They're hungry.
And
They're hungry. They want to eat. They don't. How can I eat? What can I do to eat? What can I do to get the seat at the table? But after, like this, I really do believe parents, we end up watering down that hunger and ambitions down because we're like, oh, I don't want my child to suffer the way I suffer and blah blah. But did that type of, I ain't gonna call it suffering, but did that type of action create something better for that particular child? Like you all had chores. You had chores. You had things that you had to do to earn your keep in the house. Period. But I know people, they're like, I'm not gonna have my child to have chores. That's not gonna happen. Okay, so how are they gonna learn responsibility? How will they learn certain different areas and things like that? Yes, they can end up speaking and have an opinion, but still you gotta do something. Earn your
and,
keep.
and it's crazy because I was talking to one of my friends that moved out here from Africa, and he said he's like the reason we think Americans are lazy. He's like it's not necessarily that the individual person's fault. It's because of who raised them and what America is. He said you go to West Africa, here's how you can live. You can either buy a house, rent a house, or build a house. Like why do you have to pay so much to show that you're not lazy?
Yep. The other thing I see in this book about patterns. How do we interrupt the pattern?
Yeah, and I think it was saying something like that, like since you have like a pattern, you're doing it so much, like you kind of get like born with that, and like like I guess that's why they say like if like like when married couples, they say like that they could tell when the other person cheating or something because they patterns like change. I thought about that because I was just thinking like I'm not married, but but we are like creatures of habit, and we do these patterns or whatever, and you have to like break yourself out of these patterns as well and push yourself to something like take a different way home sometime, or like just go to a different setting to just
You
put
eat
yourself
breakfast
in a
for
different
dinner.
situation. See, and yeah, have me an omelet for dinner or something. Get a
That's a huge interrupt. Do a full interrupt on certain things when you. I mean, even when you all used to do certain things that you all, there are certain times that you all end up doing. I ain't gonna say bad. I would say inquisitive things that you were doing that was inquisitive. I would do the opposite that you all expected me to do. And when I do the opposite, it's called interrupting the pattern. Okay, let me try to figure out how I can alter how you all are going to act next time. You all didn't know I was doing it. It was just I would end up doing certain things differently in order to interrupt the pattern to look to finesse what I need. What Jamie said, yes, Dre Lavelle, change your pattern is necessary. But yeah, that part. So so changing that pattern. Uh, okay, and I was want to say, bet on yourself. You all believe you can do it, right?
yeah, basically like even when the I don't know. I keep going like the sports like that. I guess I could just
You're a
relate to this,
sports person. Yeah, you can actually relate anything to sports. That's your
but like it's certain like Dak Prescott, like they was trying to give him like 35 million a year or something. He wanted more. Well, he wanted like less years so he can something like that. I don't know. But anyway, so he was like, all right, I'm gonna bet on myself. And I guess in his case it did work out because he got injured. But anyway, like, bad example, bad example. It's like other people who were like they was like, no, I don't want this. I'm gonna just play this last year out on my contract, and I'm gonna ball out. So then like when they actually hit free agency, they get to see what the market actually thinks of them, and they actually end up getting more money, or the team has to pay more money to actually retain them. So that's what I was thinking of, like, because if you don't bet on yourself, you basically gonna sell yourself short.
We're getting to the end, you all. Page 262, everything is highlighted.
What page?
Page 262.
Oh.
I mean, I got stuff where about the ego. It's talking about the ego and how he said, okay, go ahead and look at the ego a little differently. And how, what do you say? They make the ego seem more selfish, but it's really not, because if you have a strong ego, you will be self-reliant. You know what you can do, but it's also, you can have, let me say, you can have, it's say what they say, it's false humility and modesty. Most of the people who are at the top, they really have a ego, and they put on an air of having humility and modesty because they didn't get where they're at without an ego. Really, they didn't.
And I think people think when people think like you have a strong ego, I think they flip it what a strong ego and a weak ego is. Because you can have an ego, but you extremely sensitive. Like that's not a strong ego, that's a weak ego. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a different way, different egos that you can have.
So yeah, so I was looking at that. So basically, what it say, if others cannot accept that, they need to accept for who you are. But it say so many, what it say, so many people who attain great power in this culture, celebrities for instance, have to make a show of false humility. That's what I just said, as if they go far as they did by accident. So are we saying ego and ambition is the same thing? Can they go, are there parallels, or can we separate the two? He's saying in the book, but I'm asking you on our own opinion. I'm not saying what he's saying in the book is true. I'm asking you all, can ego and ambition go parallel, or are they different?
I think it depends. Maybe together, like in the yin and yang type of way.
They go hand in hand.
But
I said I feel like they go hand in hand, to be honest. Because with a strong ego, you're not looking for any validation from anybody, and you feel amazing yourself about yourself. So that's
I'm gonna ask Jamie something real quick. Jamie, she said it's separate if it's the two. I'm gonna ask you a question real quick, Jamie. So is it called, does a person have a strong ego to have confidence? Can that even be separate? Let's see what she says. Bring the phone so I can see it. She says strong ego can bring arrogance. So she has strong ego, so it's more confidence. That's what Jamie said.
confident, strong ego. Because a weak ego, like an ego is an ego. So I'm thinking like if think about it like a basketball player, back to
Okay.
sports again. And and he threw an interception. Coach take him out the game. And he goes over there and pouts. That's a weak ego to me.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
Like
that's the arrogance part. That a weak ego is more arrogance.
yeah.
Can we say that?
That's what I believe. It's a fine line between arrogance and confidence, though. Because if you're confident, you go sit down. Like, okay, what I need to do to get better? Like, what did I do? I understand this. I'm coming back in, coach. I'm ready this time. You know, instead of man, what you doing, man? You know who I am, man. I won all state. I scored 4 touchdowns in the football game. You know what I mean? Get your Al Bundy on and everything. You know.
I feel like ego is with self, while ambition is with items, it's with objects or goals. Like
you know that's a tantrum from arrogance.
Like you can have a super strong ego, and it's like you have self-worth. Like you, with the right ego, you have self-worth. While when you're ambitious, it's pretty much the same thing, but now it's not yourself. It's not what you desire.
Okay.
So I feel like if you push your ego too much, it can be a bad thing. But if you do it too little, it can also be a bad thing. You have to find
They say it's an ego. It's what I say. An ego is a self relationship. It's either strong or weak. The definition.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, because everybody has an ego. You know what I'm saying? Like of some sort. You know.
It's your relationship with self, whether either strong or weak.
Yeah, and maybe I got a ego. Maybe I'm good at math. I got an ego in math, and I got an ego with playing 2K or something. You know what I mean? If I'm good at this or I'm bad at this, or you know what I mean? Like it's experiences that come in. It's not just everything black and white with it. Like just because I got a strong ego on one thing, don't mean it's strong everywhere. Just because I got a weak ego on one thing, I mean it's weak everywhere. Right. In every different instance.
So the ego is really how the definition of how you feel about yourself.
Right.
Okay. All right. So we're
Was
go ahead.
Was anyone else having that song by Beyonce, the Ego song, playing? When they were reading that? Just me?
I don't know Beyonce like that.
Oh.
Look, now I gotta go listen to the song. I don't know Beyonce like that either. What is it called? Ego?
Did you say ego in there like ego like that? Something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Wrong song, wrong person.
Yeah. Same person.
I'm gonna go look for that song.
Ego. I think I heard that before. I don't know.
All righty. So y'all, we're done. We have one more chapter. So we still gonna do week after next, or we're gonna do next week so we get it over with?
We can do
I get on my calendar it's the 17th. So we just gotta go with the 17th because it's on the calendar.
Okay. He's following the calendar. I'm so proud of you in following the calendar. Let me give you a pat on the back, Dre Lavelle. Good job for following. Okay, you gonna show your calendar too?
Get my ego on, you know what I mean? Get my ego on.
Anything right here. So y'all got your calendar.
Let me put.
Let's go ahead and end so I can go ahead and I'll just crop it out. So the 18th, we gonna still keep it as the 18th?
17th.
17th. So 17th is.
So I guess we could just take a break into the next book into next year after the holiday.
So what we're looking for, since this chapter is pretty small, the last chapter, we're going to talk about this chapter, and we're going to talk. Each person alone going to end up saying what they got out the book. So we're going to talk about the chapter, and every person, we're going to give everybody a chance to talk about what they got out the book and how they think they will end up. They say lost audio. Can you hear us now? Testing. I should still be okay. I'm still okay. They said they lost audio. Darn it. So let's go ahead and close out. Y'all ready?
Yes.
So next, in 2 weeks. So confront your mortality. So.
See, yeah, okay, talking about this ego. Now they finna crush the ego down. You see that?
Crush that ego. I guess what we think of.
Humble yourself, young man. And that's how I go get it.
Patiently waiting to get in this game, could barely keep up with the reasons. Been focused on eating and keeping my family together.